and let us all do we can to build a better future.
Everyone, we here at Hard Lens Media, myself specifically, I have talked about the ongoing promotion of third parties. Now, as the years have gone on since we started Hard Lens Media in 2017, I am now in the spot where I believe we need to abolish all political parties. Everyone should be running as an independent. However, if there are third parties on the ballot, I will vote for them. In this 2022 midterm, or during the 2022 midterm election cycle, on election day, I voted for ballot initiatives, and then I voted for third parties. Now, here in Illinois, there was the Libertarians, the Greens, and I believe one seat was open for the Workers' Party. I voted for all the third party candidates, and I'm going to keep on doing that in every single election I participate in. But since doing Hard Lens Media, you know, we've covered these stories with the Illinois Libertarian Party, Illinois Green Party, and even on the national level, too, with various third parties or political organizations running as a third party, like Socialist Alternative, which is a political organization, not a third party. We see the same story happen over and over again. Corporate media smearing them, vilifying them, making them into this, scapegoat and saying, well, if people vote third party, then this candidate's going to win and they're going to screw up everything. But if you compare our politics to other democracies overseas, look, there are multiple parliamentary systems. They have multiple parties. Yet we here in America continue to vilify third parties. We here in America have a corporate media that is constantly smearing them. And the thing is, the idea of running as a third party candidate or as an independent is, well, being twisted by corporate media as well as the politicians. So first, I want to pull up this video here with Case Study QB, who is wrongly being censored on Twitter. I don't think I'll ever be able to stop saying that because he is wrongly being censored on Twitter. Where, again, you have MSNBC discussing Democrats working to stop third-party tickets from running in 2024. Lauren, before we play this video, what's it like knowing that, you know, Democrats are stopping you from choosing a third-party candidate or an independent?
It's very frustrating. I would much rather be able to, you know, I wish I felt like my vote counted in that kind of sense. It's like, because I voted for mostly third parties too in the most recent election, and I'm like, I nobody won, and so it's like I really wish that they would stop, like, because I mean I know it's not just the Democrats who do it. They're being particularly egregious about it right now, I'll admit, which is. It's just incredibly frustrating because then they tell you, well, if you vote for the third parties, your vote it's basically throwing it away, but they're the ones throwing it away. They're doing it. They're the ones doing it.
Agreed.
So it's just
agreed. And look, I am enraged at the fact that, again, this ongoing smear of third party candidates, independents, is being twisted as the ultimate vilification, and that if you vote green or libertarian or independent, you're helping out. Oh, the evil Republicans. You know, side note, the Republicans used to be a third party. All right. Side note, by the way, we've seen people like Theodore Roosevelt, who formed the Bull Moose Party. We've seen people like Ralph Nader being vilified by corporate media. Dr. Jill Stein, not once but twice, and still ongoing even after 2016, is being vilified. Ralph Nader is still being vilified, even though, you know, let's face it, even if they weren't in the election, said Democratic candidates would still have lost because Democrats just, well, they purposely lose on purpose. Okay, that's what they're doing. Okay, that's a real fact about it. And no matter what, I want to say to everyone, third parties should have a right to be on the ballot. There shouldn't be this whole method at the state and federal level to stop them from being on the ballot and being on the debate stage. It's long overdue that Americans get choices. So let's hear how corporate media is going to be a speaking platform for the Democratic Party.
The Democrats are working to stop outside groups from forming any sort of bipartisan presidential ticket because these third-party groups, the sense is, right, that they would be more of a drag on the Democrats than the Republicans. This is
according to some top Democrats, the one way that President Biden could lose a rematch with Donald Trump. Third way, the center-left think tank is out with a report this morning. Alexi McCammon got a first look at it, and it's called Dangerous Illusion. And the illusion is Democrats, it might make you feel good to have someone who's squeaky clean and in a third slot, a third party candidate. Maybe you don't love everything about President Biden, but look what's going to happen if there's a third person out there that could tip the math against President.
That's not how it works. I can't stress that out enough, because let's not forget the role that corporate media does to dismiss third parties. Now, all of a sudden, they're becoming the end-all, be-all villain, especially after the 2016. And yes, we could bring into the 2000 election as well with Ralph Nader. Look, here's the thing. Third-party candidates have to climb up so many mountains just so they could secure enough ballot signatures to be on the ballot, to be on the debate stage, if they can even get up there. And the thing is, there's a whole system put in place to stop third parties. But the thing is, what stops said Democrats from winning? Well, let's see. The Democrats lie to us all the time. They say they care about progressive policy issues, but they never follow through on it. Why did the Democrats lose in 2016, specifically in that election year? Because you had a weak sellout corporate candidate named Hillary Clinton who lost to a reality TV show clown and the Orange Cheeto Man. That's right, Trump. And the thing is, what promises have the Biden-Harris administration followed through on? Nothing. Women's reproductive rights? No. Medicare for all? No. Student debt forgiveness? No. Stimulus checks? No. And before anyone types in the comment section that $1,400, I'll take that $1,400, but they promised us $2,000 plus interest, okay? I'm going to be that petty. Infrastructure? No. We still have money for endless regime change wars. Our economy is still in shambles. Nothing has fundamentally changed. So in other words, the person that's going to cause Biden to lose potentially in 2024 if he runs again, it's going to be Joe Biden. And before anyone says, well, he won magnificently in 2020. No, he didn't. He won by the skin of his teeth. And we don't have popular vote in America. We have a thing called the Electoral College. Popular vote doesn't mean crap. In other democracies, it does. But we have the thing called the Electoral College. And Democrats had numerous opportunities to get rid of that antiquated system. They could have done it, but they didn't.
Biden, because the third way report points out, and is borne out by polling that you and I see every day, Trump voters are stickier. They're more likely to stick with him than Biden voters were if there were that third choice out there that could give them a chance to dilute Democratic votes.
I love that he's blaming the voters there.
Yeah.
Like, he's blaming Biden voters as if there's like actually anybody out there who really wanted Joe Biden to win. Like, and he's like, nope, it's because you guys are unreliable out there in the voting realm. You're not reliable. Trump supporters are reliable. They'll vote for him. They'll stick with him. If Trump wins again, it's because you didn't do your due diligence as a voter. That's so obnoxious.
Not only is it obnoxious, it's downright rude.
It's completely insulting.
Yeah, that we have a media that will blame voters. But see, the thing is, the media and the Democratic Party like to blame voters. Here's what I have to say to corporate media and those pundits and blue check marks and vote blue no matter who, and the entire Democratic establishment, and of course, Justice Democrats and DSA. Earn our fucking votes. That's what you have to do. Earn our votes. Show us through deeds and actions, not words and statements or tweets. But the sad fact is, though, Lauren, and I think we're going to talk about your favorite politician of all time. I'm sorry, I should have said that. We're going to talk about Senator Kristen Sinema. That's right. Sinema now is leaving the Democratic Party and will become an independent. Lauren,
such a loss.
Lauren,
such a gain.
Let's get your thoughts on Sinema, because obviously before we play this video, I think there's a lot to unpack about Sinema and really the damage she could do with her presence or either attaching herself to running as an independent or third parties.
Well, she's one of the most unpopular politicians in office right now. People like even in her own state really hate her. Her like actual polling numbers are crap. So the fact that and like she's been outed as a selfish, egotistical monster on more than one occasion. So the fact that she is now being like, actually, I'm not a Democrat anymore, as if she was like ever a major player democratically, like in the Democratic Party. So now I'm actually an independent. It's just now she's attaching a lot of that stigma, especially because she's making such a big deal about it and the media is making such a big deal about it. I feel like it's going to attach a lot of the stink on her to the independent party. And I know a lot of people in the independent party, especially a lot of politicians in the independent party, used to be in another party, but then weren't getting voted into office. They weren't able to like match the people in their party, so they switched to independent and were able to sort of get some extra votes that way. So I don't know if that's her game, but the woman doesn't have like any moral backbone at all. She's going to bounce around. She's going to jump around and do whatever nets her the most profit and the most even notoriety. She seems like the kind of person who, as long as there's publicity, as long as they're talking about her, she's fine. Like that's what she wants.
Well, let's face it, Sinema is a grifter. There's been numerous reports about her taking corporate donations from Big Pharma. She's been against lowering prescription drug costs. She even has a fancy paid internship at a winery of all places. So the hits just keep on coming. Sinema, who was an activist, ran as a Green Party candidate, ran as a progressive Democrat, but now votes Republican, votes corporatist all the way through and through. She is owned by the corporations. She's owned by the lobby groups. And the thing is, as you pointed out, she is completely unpopular. We've played so many videos of her own constituents calling her out. And even when asked on the ground by even Republican voters, they don't trust her either. Now, some people might say, oh, she's being a maverick by being independent. But this is how you sully the name. What Kristen Sinema is doing for herself, she's giving herself an opening to basically vote with the Republicans as an independent. Because let's face it, the Democratic Party
called on it.
The Democratic Party, before anyone else, let's say some diehard Republican voters say, well, the Democratic Party's leftist and communist. No, they're not. They're corporatists. They're corporatists. They vote for... No. The progressives got nothing from the Democratic Party. And if we did get anything, it's crumbs. I'm being generous with that term right there. So, no, the Democratic Party's not communist. They're just corporatists. Kristen Sinema's giving herself an opening so she doesn't get called out to vote with, again, corporations, but with the Republicans. Because let's face it, if you vote Democrat or Republican, at the end of the day, you don't have a seat at the table. It's corporations, Wall Street, big banks, hedge fund managers, equity firms. Like, they're the ones who the politicians work for, not you. If you vote Republican or Democrat, if you're an average citizen, do me a favor, take off your sunglasses and be brave and show me that black eye that you have, that little shiner. Because when I look at a Democratic voter or Republican voter that honestly thinks that the people in Washington, D.C. that they vote for actually care about them, I'm thinking, oh my God, get out of that abusive relationship. Find your heart and leave. But sadly, we don't live in that world. And a lot of people are brainwashed successfully by the two-party system and corporate media. And now here we have corporate media praising Sinema. Of all things. Oh. Brace yourself. It's from CNN, folks. Shout out again to K-Study QB. He's wrongly being censored on Twitter.
More on our breaking news this morning. Arizona Senator Kristen Sinema tells CNN in an exclusive TV interview with our Jake Tapper she is leaving the Democratic Party. She's registered as an independent. This announcement comes just days after Senate Democrats gained a clear 51-49 majority after the re-election of Senator Raphael.
Not that wasn't planned either, by the way, folks. So there you go. And now the Democrats have a perfect scapegoat to say, well, you just got to vote harder for us in 2024.
Warnock in Georgia. CNN political commentator and fierce independent Michael Smerconish joins us now. I'm so glad you could be with us on a day like this. What do you think?
I think it's huge news. And she's got lots of company. 42% of the country, according to Gallup, self-identify as I's, not as R's.
Don't lump us in with her, okay? She's got a paid internship at a winery. All right. She has a 6-figure salary. She has gold-plated health care. Do not put Sinema with us. And if you're an independent voter, whether you're green, libertarian, or non-affiliate, if you think Sinema cares about you, get your brain checked. Something's wrong.
Well, we've seen lots of videos on this show, even where like the people who vote for her, she like runs away from them and tells them that she tells them to their face that she doesn't care.
Yeah, and oh wait, there was that incident.
That one
where,
with her
like,
when she went into the bathroom and was like hiding in
Yeah.
there. Like,
yeah,
she's literally told her constituents to their faces that she is not on their side. She said
Yeah.
that.
yeah.
Or Ds. That's a plurality of the country. I just looked at the latest data as of November for Arizona. There are more others, that's what they're called in Arizona, than there are Democrats, and nearly as many others as there are Republicans. So the point is, there are a hell of a lot of us in the country who regard ourselves as independents. They're really
Hold on, CNN. When you, especially you, Jagoff, when you start saying, "Oh, independent, center, left, we're pragmatic and all this other good stuff," no. Sinema works for the corporations. When confronted by her own constituents, she even posted on social media of her drinking a nice little drink with a ring that says "F off." A regular person is not in the mind of Senator Kristen Sinema. She's thinking, oh, what lobby group or big pharma group do I have to go to? This woman, Senator Kristen Sinema, is against the lowering of prescription drug costs. Oh, wow. She sure does sound like she fights for us, right? Right? Madness.
Absolutely mad.
I mean, really? She's not an independent. And plus, again, pay attention in the first segment of the video. They say, oh, when the Democrats got a majority, what did she do? She probably got a note from the Democratic leadership saying, okay, Sinema, here are your marching orders. You got to be an independent, because that means if we have majority, that means we have to do things. And we don't want to do things. Why? Because the Democrats don't want to do things. They're not going to do anything for Medicare for all or women's reproductive rights or anything else.
They
right?
probably flipped a coin between her and Manchin, honestly.
Yeah, they were probably
like, which one should we kick out, send on their way?
God damn, this boils my blood, because this is gonna ruin the just like how Democrats co-opted progressive. We're gonna see corporate media and also blue dog Democrats take the name independent.
Is not a leader, for that constituency, and I think she assumes that mantle. I think she is that individual.
Michael, one thing that has been noted to me by Democratic sources that we're talking with this morning, she votes with Biden a lot of the time. She gets criticism. You may not think that, but she actually does vote with the Biden agenda a lot. Do you think all of this has to do with her reelection? That she hasn't said whether or not she's running, but does this all have to do with her potentially running for reelection, as they have promised to primary her in the Democratic Party?
It might. There's a group called Common Ground that just released data within the last few days showing that bridge builders, for lack of a better description, did extremely well in competitive congressional races in this cycle. So is it a smart play politically? I think that it is. But I also think, notwithstanding that she votes with the administration far more than she votes against it, I also think she has proven her independence, much like Joe Manchin has. I mean, it's funny because if you caught me cold and you said, hey, we've got a story today, someone has formally joined the ranks of independents, who do you think it is? I probably would have said Manchin, followed by Sinema. But, the two of them, they exhibit such control in the Senate because everyone needs to come to them to cut a deal. So I think it's wise politically. And I also think it's wise for her constituents because it places great power in her hands.
Great power in her hands.
Yeah, which is great for her constituents. How is that good for her constituents? Oh my God, the praise, like the way they're heaping praise, they're calling her like a true leader, and that she is going to like she's gonna lead us into a new era of what?
She's not gonna lead us in an era of
what
nothing.
Are they talking about?
She's not, and the thing is, like, here's the thing. Watch. She's going to get a lot of corporate donations because she won't be with the Democrats. She won't be in the primary. But as an independent, she'll be running as an independent, non-affiliate. Maybe she'll make her own little party name or whatever.
Oh, my eyes are going to be locked on OpenSecrets.com.
Yeah, and the only way in this system that we live in right now in order to make any kind of big change is you have to have a lot of money being poured into your war chest for elections. And let's face it, we've done so many stories here about third parties. Third parties always have to climb up a huge hill in order for them to even make any kind of significant impact, running commercials, etc., etc., etc. If she gets a whole bunch of corporate donations, this will be the first time we're witnessing a corporate candidate running under the guise of being pragmatic or being an independent or a free thinker. And it's going to ruin the message of third parties or either that abolishing independence. Because the thing is, in this election, especially in all elections, we have a thing called Citizens United in the McCutcheon decision where money is speech and corporations are people. You know what that means, everyone? It means people like Sinema can thrive in this and can easily outspend her opponents. And it all depends if all the corporations and corporate donors and lobby groups go to her, because Sinema can get things done, just not for you, the people of Arizona. It's going to be done for the lobby groups and corporations, not any of you.
Well, and like I said, like both, and Manchin does the same thing. Like he said, he's not wrong when he says that people they go to those two a lot, and they're often the final decision, and they do that because they're like, well, because they've made a name for themselves in not always voting, with the party line. And so when it's going to be a close vote like that, then they're like, they know that they're like, well, let's just wait and see which way the cookie crumbles. And by cookie, I mean dollar bills, and then vote that way. And then everyone, because they don't care if people are mad at them for how they voted. They don't care about that at all. Because ultimately they're still going to be paid at the end of the day. So but they take that and be like, oh, the fact that you don't know how I'm going to vote, they take that and they just like hold it in their cold little hearts and just thrive.
Yeah, and hold on, I just want to play just a few more seconds of this interview, and then we'll pull up probably the most asinine tweet I've seen in a long time. Look, folks, Sinema, she's ignored her constituents. She used to be an activist, ran as a Green, ran as a progressive Democrat. When she got into the Senate, Big Pharma and other lobby groups got a hold of her. And since then, she's been voting, yes, with Biden, but on pro-corporate issues, not helping out working class citizens, not standing by any of her beliefs if she ever believed in them. So her leaving the Democratic Party, it comes as no shock, but her running as an independent now, or potentially running again, who knows where that will play. But again, notice the bigger picture. Now the Democrats are back to where they were before 2022. Now they can't get anything done. Now, why is that important? Why am I bringing up the Democrats? Because the Democrats need to fundraise off of women's reproductive rights, Medicare for all, lowering prescription drug costs, student debt, affordable college. They won't ever get that stuff done, but they need to fundraise off of it. So Sinema probably grabbed the short end of the straw, and they'll probably be like, all right, Sinema, if you win this election, you're going to get a lot of corporate donations, you run as an independent, whatever. That's how the game is played.
I was asking Caitlin this morning what she thought, and I wonder what you think about this. This feels, from someone who's not a DC insider, very different than Bernie Sanders or Angus King, who caucus with the Democrats and are pretty reliable. Do you think it's different?
Totally different. I think that most Americans don't even regard Senator Sanders as an independent because we're so used to seeing him run for president as a Democrat. You'll both remember that in the recent election, Evan McMullin ran as an independent in Utah, put up a pretty good showing, ultimately was unsuccessful. But there is a wonky question in all of this, and I asked it of Evan McMullin. And the question is, okay, you're going to be an independent, but will you caucus with either party? Because if you don't, won't you lose any committee standing? And he cited for me on CNN a Senate rule. I think it was 25, but don't hold me to it. But he said that there's a Senate rule that applies that guarantees that a sitting senator has at least 2 committee assignments. Oh. That'll be very interesting to see how that gets handled, because I don't think Democrats will want to punish her because ultimately they're going to need her.
And that means, oh, hey, we need you. And to which Sinema's going to be like, okay, wink. I'm going to do my little curtsy thumbs down on anything I don't like because I got the corporate donors and they all want the corporate donors. It's all one big club and you ain't in it. I want to pull up this asinine tweet because you know what? Since I saw this tweet, I now realize, hey, Forward Party, you Stop saying you're third party. So we have Captain Jackass. I mean, Andrew Yang. Kristen Sinema joining the nearly 50% of Americans who declared independence is a sign of things to come. Upwards, forwards, forward party. Fuck you, Yang. Listen, Jackass. She takes corporate donations, all right? Did you not pay attention to this at all? Like, honest to God, like, look, I know you did good with your interview with Sabby Sabs, where, you know, at least we're able to explain the forward party. But even then, where does the forward party stand for? It's not really going forward at all. It's more of in the middle. Forward party's in the middle, not doing a fucking thing, okay? And Sinema isn't going to fight for any issues that matter to people. She's going to fight for the corporate donors. There have been so many reports, not only here on independent media, but even on corporate media, where it's out there in the open. She's taking money from lobby groups and corporations. It's out there. So her joining 50% of Americans, I want to say this to my fellow independents and third-party voters. Sinema does not give a fuck about you. Okay, if she's willing to fuck over everyone in the activist community, Green Party, hey, Green Party voters, remember, Green Party's third party, progressive Democrats, she voted for the corporations. She's against everything that matters in the progressive movement. And if you think she cares about anything being independent, no, yeah, she'll be independent with the corporations. She'll be working with them specifically. That's how it's done. And if the forward party wants to attach them to her attach her to their group, fine, guys, you run with it. But never forget, Andrew Yang, that, you know, when you had to explain what the forward party is about, you kind of got owned on CNN. And if you get owned on CNN, I can't respect you.